I really need to stop being so focused on searching for things because I do not expect her to talk. I don't know why I'm so jumpy when it comes to being in this environment, but I just am. I mean, wouldn't you be? Look how decrepit everything is. Look how this whole entire building is gonna collapse eventually. And her ass talks here and there. Like, I'm bound to jump. Who's pushing me? Oh, is this what it used to look like? Back when it was functioning? Okay, there goes that. There goes the radiation room. They're taking us to that weird ass semi-agitated. What's gonna happen? Why are you touching me? Excuse me? Wait, what happened to the daughter we were supposed to be having? Our child?
I didn't do anything. I just obeyed orders. I only obeyed orders. Charlotte's gone away. Mom will come and get us. She loves us, even though we're orders. Leave us alone. I didn't do anything. I only obeyed orders. Mom will come and get us now. I didn't do anything. I only obeyed orders. Even though we're bad. Mom won't leave us alone. I didn't do anything. Charlotte gone away. I only obeyed orders. Mom will come and get us now. She loves us, even though we're bad. I didn't do anything. I only obeyed orders.
Wow. That's unfortunate. Now I think of it, wasn't shock therapy a thing back in the day too? So that might also affect her. But to hear her go through so many voices of all the age stages of being a little kid to teen to young adult to an adult, and what I'm assuming now is in her older life, that's very daunting, because when you go through trauma, that's essentially what you're kind of facing is all these emotions that have built up over time. The kid version of you who is trying to validate for everything that's ever occurred, to the adulthood of you trying to figure out everything all at once, and not with the proper guidance, you're kind of at a loss. And she wasn't given that proper guidance at all. Oh, yep, there it goes. I totally forgot they did shock therapy, so this primarily might be the biggest factor of what's causing her to derail even faster. Shock therapy doesn't always work, and I'm not sure if we still do it. You can correct me if I'm wrong. I think certain states still do it, but I would assume it's not at the highest volume like we used to have it. Oh, this is horrible. They didn't even get consent from this. Oh, dear child. I'm so sorry. Well, you're not a child anymore. You're an older woman. Probably older than me. But to be stuck in the past like it's just yesterday is the most horrifying, horrific experience anyone could ever go through. Oh, there they go. Yep. They are now gonna shock her. I definitely think I'm gonna have to put a lot of graphic warnings in this. This is not a game that is just something you would put on the internet without disclaimers. Gee, she still remembers that. Oh, that sensation of the ringing. Not my favorite thing to listen to. Okay, where does that put us in terms of memories? Experiences. Medical records. Memories. Okay, so... I don't know what this means.
What was that doctor writing, sitting at his desk?
Didn't I read it already? I mean, I can look at it again. Oh, that's new. That was not there. I just walked away from it because I didn't see it from the light. Oh, is this the rest of the documentation?
September 7th, 1938. The patient frequently indulges in recriminations expressed in an explosive tone of voice. This morning she threw away the milk, saying it was full of urine, spittle, and all kinds of other filth. Crazed, she hears voices that order her to do things. She says she heard children singing and that they were locked up in a school. January 20th, 1939. Introverted, dazed, cannot focus on anything. When questioned and stimulated, she starts crying and weeping. At other times, she laughs. June 1st. Apathetic. Eats very little. She refuses to be touched. Does not respond. Spends her time in the grounds. The cooks report that she sits on a bench in front of the kitchens. October 14th. Return of impulsive behavior. This morning she asked for 2 eggs to make zabayoni, but when she got them, she threw them up in the air. Excited, clamorous, slightly confused, takes her clothes off. December 8th. Tied to bed for 15 days.
What the fuck?
High-spirited, tends to make witty comments and use vulgar words. Laughs hysterically and pleasures herself. The nurses report that about 2 weeks ago she remained in the showers on her own and didn't want to leave. They said that when they took her away, she swore at them and then lashed out and bit them. 2 nurses had to be treated for their injuries. They've kept her tied to the bed since then. Transferred to the slightly agitated ward, from the care of Dr. B to the care of Dr. C. I was with Amara in the showers. My memories are terrifying. They're not real, are they?
Oh, these are some pretty, heavy choice sets. That explains it all because she did have that person that she was talking to, and she said, what I remember specifically is that, she was never documented in the hospital, and that's what gave me an alert because though there are some cases that no one is documented, they wanted to treat it as a ghost patient. For this case, she never existed. She craved company, and her mind craved it so much that she fantasized a fictional person to help cope with all the emotions she had going on with her. And to read a document that showed her behavior from an outside perspective, whereas we're in it, even though I'm the outside still perspective, none of it actually existed, and that in a sense she was so heavily convinced that these imageries were so real that it happened in her mind. From the outside perspective, it never did happen. Her demeanor and her mood swings amped up, if anything. So this is a tough one to choose. I was with Amara in the showers. My memories are terrifying. They're not real, are they? Well, I mean, memory is what you are, whether it's real or not, but sometimes you just have to burst that bubble, so...
December 15th. Dr. C. Patient notes. The abnormality of her psychic state has induced her to lead a life which is irregular and tends towards delinquency. Of fickle and flighty character, she regularly discards her household duties and engages in occasional prostitution. Delinquency? Maybe I answered someone back rudely, yes, and people get on my nerves at times, but delinquency? And prostitution? No, why? Why say a thing like that? The old doctor tried to understand, but this one just labels you without thinking, or even trying to comprehend. Her mental deficiency makes her deaf to the reprimands of her family. She has shown suicidal tendencies. She was brought to the ward yesterday, agitated and hysterical. Treated with cardiazol, 2 injections a week for 5 weeks. The therapies removed the light for a while, but also all her will, desire, and hope.
Wow. So my conclusion to this is when you start getting to the choices is, one, you could continue to be delusional, and which is meaning you cannot accept the reality of what's truly going on. Everything is still out to get you. Everything that you know and love are here to betray you. So in a sense, you're on your own with this mental illness, and no one's going to get you out of it because no one can. And when you're not ready to accept the answers that you're reading, it could very much seem like they're attacking you and what you perceive to be you. That's why therapy, like I said, therapy is good for everyone, only if you're willing to accept that additional help. If you are not willing to accept it, it could feel very intrusive, upsetting, and degrading. If you're not willing to admit that you have issues, it's very much degrading. It's very much telling you things you do not wish to hear. And this very much hits the front home of that for this story is that one, we can continue to feel like none of it is real. All the notes that we're reading are false accusations of us because that's not real. We do not perceive ourselves as that. We would never, one, prostitute ourselves like she said. But at the exact same time, there were certain things that did happen that didn't mean to happen, and that was one, the rape scene that she unfortunately went through with that guy. He shouldn't have been left alone, and he was still clearly working there, which still doesn't help the situation. That was an actual case. That was not figmented. She did have a child, which I'm starting to wonder if that was even real because they're not acknowledging it in the notes. So I'm wondering if that was another hallucinogenic now that I think of it. Maybe she may have accidentally egged on someone without being aware of her actions, because once you're on a lot of drugs, your brain chemistry changes in such massive ways that you're no longer coherent to what you're actually doing or what you're actually saying. So let's not throw it completely out the window that it may have not been raped, but let's keep it in the back of our minds that maybe, because the world isn't so black and white, there's a ton of different hues of colors into this world. Maybe in the situation, she may have led him on without realizing what she was doing. So I want to go with B, because no, it wasn't to keep quiet. It was very much trying to help us in the limited amount of care that was given back in the day. Therapy was terrible and painful, but it was the only treatment that existed. To a certain extent, they were trying to make you feel better. You were lost souls.
It was torture, but we had no choice. Nobody explained anything. No one tried to help us understand. We were like farm animals.
Ooh, I may have not chosen the right one. Alright, so now our choices are you were too many and they were too few. It is impossible to do otherwise. They had their nightmares within the walls. They didn't know what to do with you. You were a damn dangerous, condemned soul. What could have taken care of you? I'm gonna say the top one because if I remember correctly, there was a lot of patients. Like, a lot of people were being submitted when they weren't needed to, and obviously this was the first time that mental health from back in the day, I'm making quotation marks because it's not very accurate. It was very much a more of you learn as you go kind of situation, which is terrible by all means. But they were always understaffed, and the suggestive sizing of how many patients they should have had in the building was always over the top. So eventually it probably did start feeling like an animal, which is unfortunate either way.
June 2nd. After a long period of calm and improvement, the patient is very agitated today and vehemently refuses to submit to a gynecological examination. She swears and curses those helping her, flailing her arms and hitting them. According to reports by Dr. B, the patient has been subjected to periodic checkups since she had a spontaneous abortion about 2 years ago in her 3rd month of pregnancy. Conception occurred after she had sexual intercourse with a stranger who sneaked into the hospital grounds. Details are contained in the charges filed at police headquarters in Volterra, a copy of which is attached to these clinical notes. ES therapy. A spontaneous abortion? It's not true. I can't believe it. How could I have invented things if I didn't even know what they were doing to me?
Ooh, this is crossing a line. This game is meant to make you uncomfortable, and if you're not okay with playing it, I wouldn't suggest playing it then. It's touching hardcore topics that not a lot of people are willing to address. I don't know what to choose because that is strange that they were keeping an eye on her child, and we're not given that information. She certainly doesn't express it either. But I do remember the doctor that was specifically supposed to be keeping an eye on her said that she would keep an eye on her. And, you know, like children, there tends to be some incidences where you just happen to look away and they just so happen to hurt themselves. Maybe this is that situation where she so happened to be by herself and so happened to hurt the baby she was supposed to be carrying. It is possible. There is a possibility she could have done that. Especially when you're going through so many emotions, going through so many memories, going through so much. You can't really figure out where you are. So let's go with C.
June 13th. The nurses report that she descended into a state of great mental confusion after receiving her mother's letter. She threw her soup over another inmate because she was very anxious, and then punched a nurse. Impulsive, flails about her. She rails against the doctor in vulgar terms while he is examining her, lashes out and spits. Block all correspondence to give the patient no further reason to become agitated. August 20th, tied to bed. The nurses report that the patient is extremely agitated after the visit of a relative or family friend. 2 days later, she is still shouting all the time that he commands her, that she must obey and harm herself, and that she is not Charlotte. All visits forbidden, constrained to bed, and intensification of ES therapy until we achieve results. No contact with the outside. That way nobody knew what was happening within these walls.
Oh, I get what the electrotherapy, that was ES. ES is electrotherapy, electro shock, I'm guessing? No, now that we're seeing the documentation, it certainly explains a lot of everything. It's like, for me, it's placing together why everything suddenly escalated the way that it did. Because in her perspective, and again, you gotta be careful with perspectives. Biggest thing I've always am going through is like, like to hear both sides or neither sides, because I'm not going to pick one side. And this is very much a game of perspectives. You got to be willing to see it from every direction. It is not a very much one-sided this and only that. Human misery was thrown in here and locked away to make the world forget about it. These people who are here, the people who were in here were no longer human beings as far as society was concerned. The important thing was to keep you quiet. You don't remember what happened when the letter arrived. How can you judge? God only knows how much suffered they spared you. I guess yeah. I feel like C very much touches it because one of the notes said that she suddenly became very agitated upon her mother's notes. Now, let's think back. Renee has a lot of issues. She often reverts back to her childhood issues in that she is very fearful of her own mother. And that could have been an incident where it just triggered that memory. And she lashes out in the most chaotic way. And especially if you're a grown woman with now double the strength of what you had as a child, why wouldn't they restrain you? Why wouldn't they put you off so you didn't have to feel overwhelmed and harmful and subjective to overwhelming emotions when you can't really calm yourself down from them? Being an adult is trying to figure out how to combat these overwhelming emotions as much as the child. And we have key points on how to do that if they were shown to you. There's been some cases where some people don't have those tools. How do they fix them? How do they deal with them? Renee's in that issue. She doesn't have anything. She has zero skills to help cope with anything. She has spiraled so far out of control that the only way to currently help her is to keep people from seeing her that cause these great big emotions. And yeah, it may seem pretty harsh to her, but when you really think about it, wouldn't you feel better knowing that, hey, my partner, my sister, my brother, my mom, or my dad is going through something every time they see you? Can you please not come by? Because you're trying to, in a sense, let them recover, to let them be spared of these overwhelming emotions or memories that hold them back. And sometimes you do need a break from people, rather that be years, months, weeks, days. You just need that break. You don't need to sit there and constantly be overwhelmed with these emotions if they're being triggered. So let's go ahead and go with C.
March 3rd. Alert, correct attitude, replies when questioned. The nurses report that the patient is calm. She washes and looks after herself. She affirms the existence of a certain Amara. She says that Amara is a patient who disappeared when she was moved to this ward. No confirmation. Probably a regressive hallucination. Evaluate transfer. Did I imagine Amara? That's not possible. She was there. I know she was there. I feel it. She must have left some traces of her presence.
Well, that's for you to decide if she did or not, because she may not exist and she's just a fragment of your memory. Oh, that's just light. Okay. And that's the thing with mental illness, is that the brain can make whatever you believe happen. You think you have it, it will make it happen. You want something, it will do all that it can to make sure you have it. it is a powerful tool along with a powerful double edge to that. If you're not stable, it will hurt you. It's, in a sense, it's just, you gotta know what you gotta know. You gotta understand certain things. Okay, so let's see. So what are we trying to find? Alright, so looks like we got more data. I'm not gonna let it read it just because I really want to just skim through it. Oh, here, this is new. This is what I was trying to see if they would read, but it didn't. December 8th, 1939. Dr. C, I very much regret having to send this girl to your wing. I had hoped her state would have improved and they were glimmer of hope, but ultimately, this didn't happen. Following the attacks on the nurses, I could no longer keep her hospitalized in my ward. I've grown really fond of this girl who I've followed since she was admitted to this institution. Please treat her with particular care as she is a girl and has endured so much suffering. So yeah, see how he even admits to her suffering. There's nothing there, so let's see. I wonder if we can leave, because I'm not entirely sure if we have anywhere else to go. It looks like we can get out, but I will double check. I will go up there and check. Was it down here? Yeah, it was down here. Keep going straight. I think it was down here. The poster looks familiar. Let's see. Yep, there we go. Let's see. Nothing else is pairing up for me. Let's go up here.
Amara B, aged 32, housewife, mother of 2 daughters, married to Mario B. So Amara does exist. Yet she had no children and wasn't married, but that photo, it's her. June 3rd, 1936. Admitted yesterday, showing signs of improvement. June 8th. Cheerful, calm, and tranquil. Her behavior is good and she's keeping herself clean and tidy. Discharged on June 10th. April 28th, 1937. Arrived accompanied by her husband in an anxious and nervous state. Has difficulty speaking, trembles. Discharged May 14th. March 8th, 1938. A few days before Renee was admitted, she told me that she too had been admitted only a short time previously. Arrived yesterday in a febrile state. Discharged March 14th. She didn't leave. Certainly not after a few days. No. June 22nd, 1939. Readmitted once more. The patient shows rapid improvement. Discharged July 2nd. August 1st, 1941. The latest of many admissions due to agitation. Discharged August 27th. She came and went, stayed only for short periods, but I remember she was always with me. What's going on? March 4th, 1942. Back again, the same situation. March 8th. Compared to previous admissions, the patient seems depressed even after a few days, although her demeanor is calm and she is attentive. Discharged March 25th. April 2nd. The patient is distracted and apathetic. Her husband brought her here and said, "She's not eating, doctor. She spends all her time sleeping. I'm so worried, doctor. You know her. You can help her." April 6th. Tuberculosis. Patient transferred to the Maragliano Pavilion and is in isolation. May 3rd, 1942. Death from tuberculosis at approximately 8:30 a.m. Is Amara dead? Poor dear friend, I wasn't even able to say goodbye to you. Enclosed is a manuscript written by the patient, probably in a state of delirium. I'm dying, I know it. I'm losing a lot of blood, bleeding internally too. It's strange. Since I came back in here, I can't stop thinking about that little girl with her sad eyes, her her desperation. I only saw her for a short time, it's true, but she remains in my heart. Will she still be here? I hope to God not. I hope she's better and her mother's taken her home. My memories don't match up. What's the point of this? Perhaps my memory is playing tricks on me. Things are not as I remember them, as I see them. But she said she liked me. I just can't understand it. I just wanted to say goodbye to her for the last time. I never even said goodbye to her. How could a soul survive in this hell? I so want to feel things again. Pain, passion. Feel the damp tears rolling down my face. To remember that I was alive.
Oh, how did we get here? Okay. Oh, these are all the people that have passed away over the years. Can we open that? Here's how many patients there were. Oh, it's a podium. Why? Are we gonna lay on there? Oh, I thought that was a sheet of paper. Looks like the stone.
I can't be sure it's Amara's.
Oh, we're gonna have to sit here and find it?
These crosses are nameless. How will we ever know who is buried here? There are no names. We were worth nothing, indebted, as in life. If there was someone out there who cared for you, well, perhaps. I had Mom. Let's go and wait for her. She'll come and get us. She promised.
What, am I supposed to backtrail back? So I'm guessing depending on what you said and what you've chosen, you would probably get the different outcome of where she probably lays in that room. Well, I pictured her right here. Maybe right there? So do I just leave the cemetery? Or do I get in the car? Even the car was left behind. Ooh! So much to learn. Let's go ahead and leave. I'm not sure how she got over here. Can we go through here? Or are we going through over here? Oh, wow, this is such a large place. I kind of want to explore over here, so let me go over here. Let's see. Wow, this was a large estate. Do you see how much is here? This is wild. I don't know what that says.
Mom will come. She'll come.
Oh, so we are going the right direction.
She promised, and she'll come to get us.
I don't know if your mom's alive is the question. Do you sound quite older?
She'll take us home. Now I understand. I won't misbehave anymore.
Maybe you were home and you brought yourself out here where you shouldn't have. There goes the lake.
I won't misbehave again, Mom. Please don't leave me here.
Oh, jeez. This story is such tragedy. But still, the estate is large. Can you imagine the money in this if they were to try to sell this and demolish everything? Like, this isn't a large estate. I don't know who would buy it.
I won't cause any trouble. I'll be quiet in my corner.
Oh, child, you still have not learned anything. It's like you're accepting reality, but still rejecting it. She understands to a degree something's going
How
on.
I miss that dark corner where I used to spend whole days.
She like understands what's going on, but then doesn't, because she kind of backpedals herself into saying like, I'll just go in my corner, I'll be there, my corner's
I'll
me
stay
happy.
there like a good little girl. But take me away from this place.
But that's not gonna help you, because you're still not grasping the reality of your situation. Oh, they moved this. That was not there before. All of that was covered.
I must always concentrate on nothing else.
Oh, girl. You're gonna be by yourself then. You're gonna be in this consistent loop of loneliness. It's so sad. Oh.
Otherwise, I get confused and I'm afraid I won't be able to find my way back.
Is this why you've been living here? I'm starting to think you really do live here. I mean, I may have mentioned it, and I was just thinking maybe out loud, but girl, you do live here.
Any thoughts upset me so violently, and I can't handle them.
Oh, then.
I'm afraid of myself, of what I might do when I get confused and don't remember anything.
Are we just gonna be in a constant loop of going back into the house? What is going on?
There are some rooms I'm not aware of.
Maybe she thought of, now that we're walking back, maybe whoa. This entrance changed. How long has this girl been here? Has she been living up here this entire time? The entrance wasn't that ran over with. Oh, she's been living here ever since it's closed. But I was gonna say, when her friend Amara may have told her she liked her, I think what she probably misinterpreted that, because she's never been liked by anyone like that, let alone admired, so she may have taken that as a romantic sense of feelings. For what I'm thinking, she may have meant it as like, you're an adorable child that needs guidance and needs to be away from her mom, sort of thing. I don't know why we're back here. Why are we back here? Where do I go now? Oh, they've opened up the other ones. Okay, where do I go now? Do I just go back?